Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And begin. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if we could please have the roll call vote.
Councilmember Lavelle?
Here.
Councilmember Schickling?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ponce?
Here.
Mayor Marshall?
Here.
And for the record, Councilmember De La Rosa is not present, and City Attorney Melissa Crosswaith is joining us virtually.
Hello, Melissa. Okay. All right. Are there any announcements or written communications?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Department head reports?
Oh, somebody's back from vacation.
Yes, I am. Well, good evening. Bob Greenlaw, Director of Public Works. So I'll just give you a little update on how we're prepping for the summer season here. We're at the waterfront. If you notice, we're out there today. We replenished the sand on the beaches, so there's plenty of sand for everybody. Hopefully it stays there. We don't have some wave event taking it away. We've planted new plants and weeded the landscaped areas, and now we're starting to work on the hillsides. And we have to do that before June 1st. There was a lot of weeds out there this year, so it's been pretty intense for our crews. So, and we stripped and patched and painted the sombrero fountains, if you noticed that. It was in dire need of repair, and our crews did a great job getting that done. And we've painted the rails and steps that are leading down to the beach, and you'll see that continue on. And we've completed washdowns. You know, we've completed the washdown that was all the way Pebbly Beach Road there at the walkway to the mole. At the city properties, we're still working on that weed abatement that I spoke of, and we'll continue on doing that. And sometimes, like, we've already had hit that, like at Buena Vista Point, and now we're actually having to go out there because of the intensity of the weeds, going out there a second time. It's easier the second time, but that just shows you that takes us away from doing other things that we need to do. And then we'll be moving on to repairing potholes. And, you know, all across the state, you're seeing, because of the rain, there has been a lot of potholes this year. It's no different in our town. But that, we want to get some of that stuff on the waterfront, and then we'll be hitting those potholes. And then we'll be looking at working on some of the trip and falls. So some of the things that are on our sidewalk areas, we'll be grinding some concrete and making some replacement on some of the pavers as we can fit in with the people around. So any questions for us?
Potholes? Is the road going up to the golf course, is that ours?
No. Country Club Drive is not ours from the intersection of Tremont here all the way up to the Y with Cemetery Road.
Okay.
And from that point, it does pick up, and it is city all the way up to Las Lomas, the connection Las Lomas East Whitley up there.
Okay, I'll have the people refer it to the island company then. Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Questions of Bob? No. Warren?
Good evening, Orrin Karstarfen, Harbor Master. Since my last report, Tuesday, May 2nd, Patrol moored 349 boats for a total of 1,413 nights. Patrol responded to 2 medical calls, did 16 public assist, warned or advised 11 persons of Avalon Municipal Code violations, and wrote 1 citation. They also completed 99 security checks of the facilities. Last week, 2 of our officers attended a 1-week basic coastal operator course in Ventura Harbor. The class is one of a number of training opportunities that's provided annually by the California Department of State Parks. It provides participants practical knowledge regarding marlin spike vessel inspection, navigational rules, aids to navigation, charts, weather, boating law, and patrol techniques. All those were covered in the 1 week of class, and all those skill sets are commonly used in the Harbor Patrol and lifeguard personnel. That's all I got.
Questions? No, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City staff, Council, Michael Alegria, Fire Chief. Let's see, weed abatement, get your weeds cut by June 1st. We'll be going around checking after the week of June 1st and sending out letters if you haven't complied yet. Sidewalk, community CPR. So we have 2 dates on the website. One is Monday, May 22nd, 5 o'clock at the fire station, $40, around a 2-hour class, give or take. Card's good for 2 years, and also on June 1st. What we're gonna do on June 5th is called Sidewalk CPR Day, National Sidewalk CPR. So on June 5th, we're gonna go to the school and do a couple of PE classes, and it's not for certificate, it's just hands-only CPR. It's only compressions only. And then on June 6th, from 12 to 3, we're gonna be down on the stage, Cruise Ship Day, doing another part of it. So there's more people downtown learning CPR.
Nice.
Last week on Thursday, I had the pleasure of attending our LA Area Fire Chiefs meeting on the mainland in downtown LA. And all 29 chiefs were there in dress uniform, and they awarded the 7 departments that came to help Monterey Park in the shooting. It was the largest shooting in LA County history, so every month we do online training, and it's part of our regional training group, so everyone does the same MCI training, EMS training, fire training, so they just recognize how close-knit. He said within 12 hours, every 29 of the departments had reached out and offered everything from just how you doing to
Yeah.
covering the station so everybody could be home and they could get some mental health training.
Wow, nice, nice. Yeah.
That's it.
Anything on code? You've been writing a lot of tickets.
Code is writing a lot of tickets.
Somebody came in with a stack today. I don't know what the total bill on that one was, but they came in to take care of a lot of tickets, so that was good. Yeah. Excellent. So thank code as
Thank you.
well.
Oh, Chief, do the CPR classes include AED service training as well, or is that a separate class?
The community ones, they do.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Include what?
The AED, the automatic defibrillator.
Oh, okay. Those things are really dummy.
They are, but good to have practice with them ahead of time, yeah.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Jocelyn Francis, Assistant City Manager. This month, the city received the remaining capacity estimate for the Pebbly Beach landfill. It's estimated the landfill will be at capacity in approximately 4 years and 5 months. Last week, we met with CR&R to discuss options to extend the life of the landfill. One is extending the retaining wall, which would add approximately 25 years, which I believe you guys got a presentation on in January. In addition to that, an important component is working with our community members, our visitors, business owners, multifamily dwellings to really get the word out there on how to appropriately recycle and divert food waste as much as we can from the landfill. So more to come on that. Later tonight, you'll see one of the CIP projects this year is to start the project for the landfill extension. In addition, just a reminder, we have a lot of recruitments going on right now. So we've got Public Works Maintenance 1 and 2, both full-time and part-time positions. Some summer work for harbor maintenance, sanitation worker, recreation aide and leader, and then reserve firefighter. In addition, we opened accounting technician 1 or 2. Applications are due May 24th, so please share that. And then last but not least, we have the Public Works Director position open right now. And we're actually going to hire an executive recruiter to help us out. They'll do in-depth public outreach, reach out to potential applicants for the position, and help us with the interview and background process. That concludes my report.
Thank you. It's nice to have you
Quick
up here.
question. For the positions we're trying to fill, are we offering any kind of compensation for bilingual?
There's provisions in the contracts that anybody would fall in, depending on what position they are. Most of those contracts and MOUs have a bilingual component to their compensation.
Okay, because I just know that through personal reasons, I know there's a lot of going on out there, and some cities, it's automatic. It's like, okay, if you are bilingual, then there's an extra chunk of change for you, no matter what's going on.
I think all but one of our current MOUs has a provision in there for the additional bilingual pay.
Okay, cool. And then one other question regarding, I know you said there's more information to come, but regarding the multifamily dwellings and all this kind of stuff for the recycling and the organic waste and all this stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot, like eucalyptus gardens. I know that they got the little pails and stuff like that, but they still just have full-on dumpsters. And so it does not lend itself easily to separating trash or anything like that. And I'm pretty sure Bahia, well, I know that Bahia met with them, but there's other places. So we have a lot of work to do on getting that word out. And so I hope there's a good plan to figure that out. And I'd be willing to go in any kind of conference meetings you know, and brainstorm and try and get this under control, because it's ridiculous. In my opinion, the system is not working.
Yeah, in my short time here, there is a lot of room for improvement, but I'm positive that we'll be able to extend the life of the landfill regardless of whether there's a wall or not. And
Right.
To your point, there's a lot more we could do. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Jocelyn, just as a person who lives at Eucalyptus Gardens,
Yeah.
the education to the tenants is nil.
No.
I never even got one of the little buckets. We have one recycling can and one food waste can, but we have this huge dumpster, and everything goes in the dumpster. And then when I go to throw my stuff, because now I'm trying to do it,
Yeah.
and now when I go to throw stuff in the recycling can, it's full of stuff that they put it into plastic bags. And it's like the education is not there.
Right.
So we need to talk to CR&R and get them a little bit motivated in educating the community.
Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna create a public recycling depot here on the City Hall campus, and a pilot program for recycling beverage containers for cash reimbursement. And yeah, certainly working with these large, either it's a multi-dwelling unit, we're meeting with Bonds actually tomorrow, and some of these other big companies, visitors too, right?
Yes,
Right.
So yeah,
yeah.
we can get better. And we ordered pails, so hopefully more will be coming so we can hand them out to the community.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Because we gave them didn't we give them a big chunk of change to help get this SB 1383 underway?
Like I said, we've gone through a number of different iterations with them to try to get this up to speed, and
Yeah.
they seem to trail off, so we're trying to keep CR&R
Yeah.
to the task here.
I know. Okay, thank you.
All right, good luck.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. So recently, we just released this week a survey to our of the community program needs. We sent that out to the school to be put out onto Canva, so the kids can fill it out as well as the parents, because we feel like a lot of times we think we know what our community needs and starts to create programs for them. But I feel like it's better suited if we find out what they need first, and then create the programs around that. So that's gone out this week, and tomorrow it will go out on Facebook to the public. So we're trying to hit everybody the best we can. And then, as you can tell, JMF is closed today all the way through Thursday. We're replenishing the infill. We had two great events earlier this month. Cinco de Mayo on the 5th of May. We had 3 dance groups perform on stage. We had over 100 community members dance on stage that day, from the ages of 5 to much older. And we thought it was probably one of our best Cinco de Mayo events that we've had. It was just amazing to watch our community come out and participate, but also come and support. Probably over 1,000 people down there watching the event. And then it moved on up to the museum, as they also did some performances up there. but had a band, and they danced through the night up at the museum. We also had hosted the LA County Sheriff's Explorers Color Run. There were over 120 explorers participating in that event, with 60 support staff and parents along with them. Maybe you guys saw them. They were on May 6th, lined up 2 by 2, running up to Hamilton Cove and back, doing cadence chants, and they're very well-behaved kids, very disciplined. Then they came back into town and did a cleanup, and then they allowed them to kind of like be kids and play on the beach, and because a lot of them don't live in areas like this, and they got an opportunity to see a beautiful area. And the Sheriff's Department says they would love to figure out a way to get Matt to do more programs like that for them so they can come back. And then, like Jocelyn was saying, tomorrow we will be meeting with Brian Riley with Vaughn's to figure out a path, to create a path for them to come into compliance with SB 1383. And so that seems like that's something that we have the space available to distribute food. We believe we have the volunteers to distribute food. It's now just getting it from Vaughn's. But we believe that'll be an easy path. And so hopefully some of that will come out, get people start thinking about it more as well. And one thing we were going to try to do before 4th of July, and what we're hoping to do is work with CR&R with this, is because 4th of July is Green Island in a blue ocean, that we start getting information and we just start pumping out information for the 4th of July, because we think that's a great jumping point, and then we can have kiosks everywhere with information for people, and use that as a way to educate the tourists who come here, our visitors, as well as our own community. Any questions?
Yeah, so the program with Vaughn's, you're talking gathering the items that would be expiring, that
Yes.
they normally, in the past, they've just thrown that out?
Yes.
So you're looking to distribute that to the community?
Yes,
Awesome.
yes.
But none of the organics,
What's that?
not any of the fresh fish, fresh foods.
No.
No.
I mean, it'd be like a day before being expired. Anything that they would usually throw out, because they'll throw it out right before expiration. I mean, the one thing they are doing is they're doing big cuts and sells to try to move it, but we think we can help them move it a lot quicker. And we think it would be very beneficial for the community and beneficial for them from a philanthropic standpoint.
And are those water filling stations operable?
I would have to go out and test all of them. I know that.
We have two, right?
We have two. There's three.
Oh.
There's one by Kanabe Park. There's one as you're coming in. It's around the ATM in that section there, and then there's one right across the street from JMF. I know the one from right across the street from the JMF does work. The one at Kanabe Park works. Just got to double check the one that's by the ATM.
Okay, all righty, thank you.
Okay.
Because people are walking around carrying water bottles all the time now,
Yeah.
so, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Matt, were you gonna say something too? Or we're just gonna see you later?
I will after.
Okay. Okay, Matt.
Matt.
Yeah, I know.
Tons of Matts. Good evening, council. Since our last council meeting, we've had 113 responses to calls for service. We had 2 arrests, one for felony assault and one for drunk in public. We finally started the long-awaited shortstop program on the 9th, last Tuesday, and the mayor was there, and what'd you think?
We'll see what happens on the 23rd.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see if we'll talk about it a little bit, yeah.
No, but what program is
The
it?
shortstop.
Oh,
Diversion program for juveniles.
Yeah, the school
Gotcha.
gets parents of, they did 12 kids, but only 9 showed. And then they try to, not scare them straight, but they give them a lot of education, and then they want them to get their stuff together before they end up in juvenile court on the mainland.
I got it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We have a new safe boat that should be delivered by Memorial Weekend. So we'll have a safe boat on both sides at Two Harbors as well as Avalon. So that'll be nice. And we currently have 7 personnel that are trained on boats. So we should have someone all the time on shift able to respond to calls on the water. We're getting a new dispatcher who is a Spanish speaker starting a week from Sunday. So our dispatchers will be fully staffed, which we're excited about. And we also have, we're scheduled to get a new watch deputy to fill behind Dina's spot, and a new deputy to fill in the field on our PM shift. We're also staffing additional personnel on the weekends now during the busier season. So every Saturday and Sunday, or Friday and Saturday, we'll have additional deputy out working Front Street.
Great, great. Walking Front Street?
Most of the time, yes.
Okay, thanks. Good. We like it when we see them walk. Anyway. Any other questions of the captain? No? Okay. Thank you, Matt.
Good evening, Council. Matt Baker, Finance Director. Don't have a lot of the presentation coming up in a bit. I will be publishing the March visitor-driven revenue reports later this week. Hotels were down for March 20%. When we did the revenue estimate update, we had it anywhere between down 40% as the low end of the range to breaking even. So what that means is we'll probably fall somewhere in the middle of that range. So we're looking at TOT revenues for the year around 7.7 million. That's down from 8.7 million last year, but still significantly higher than our pre-COVID averages. Other than that, presentation tonight will focus on capital projects with the next meeting. A full draft of the budget is the goal to have presented to council to go over in detail with the ultimate goal is second meeting in June to adopt the budget.
Great. Questions? Okay, thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
City manager report?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Couple things. Last week, the mayor and I and Devin had an opportunity to participate in a video meeting with the DMV regarding attempting to get them to install a kiosk somewhere in the city, DMV kiosk, preferably City Hall, but their prior or other arrangements, they generally try to do it at a grocery store, a public place that has hours that are open longer than maybe we are. But we're having ongoing discussions with them, trying to get that over here. But they use a private vendor that installs those machines and manages those machines. So it's a matter of whether or not it's profitable for them. So the number of transactions that could take place, we would probably be lower than what's desired, but maybe we can get them to do that. If it happens, it's going to be a credit card or card-only machine, because the cash requirements are that it has to be emptied every 3 days, and that's probably not going to happen if we get one out here at all. So
with an armored truck.
With an armored truck, which makes it even more difficult.
So would the kiosk offer services that the DMV does not offer online, or is this in light of in recognition of people that don't have access to internet or computer?
It would be recognition of that you get it right then and there, and it's quicker. I think they do probably offer some things maybe that aren't online. We're still working at what they can and cannot and are not able to offer. But it's a matter of getting those things more immediate.
Well, if the Island Company would go along with it, the post office arcade is open till 7.
True. So first step is, I think if we can get them to bring it over, we'll find a place for it somewhere.
Right.
I think it'd be a great benefit to the residents if we can figure that out. So we'll keep working through that and let you know where we're at. I'm happy to report that the city has been awarded a $200,000 grant for the purchase of 2 new public transportation vehicles that will replace our current vans, dial-a-ride vans that we have. We're going to put those out of their misery and bring these 2 new vehicles over as soon as we can. They'll be electric.
Wow.
There'll be 6 seats with both ADA compatible. And I want to thank both Jamie and Aliana for the work they did on this grant and getting this awarded. it's a great benefit to us because, you know, our goal, or we were gonna have to spend money anyway on these vehicles, so we would have had to pull money away from our Metro money. So now this allows us to do that. Our goal and our intention is to make sure that those vans will be compatible with whatever we choose to do in the future with our microtransit, and work in concert with that, with the ultimate plan that these vans will replace the larger Garibaldi buses, and then the microtransits will replace our current smaller vans. So working in concert with those two things, we're getting there. So it's exciting that happened. Just want to give council a report on our early progress with Sagecrest, our new planning consultant. So far, so good. Everything's been working great. They've gotten up to speed. They're communicating with our applicants, giving them checklists of what they need to do before they get on Planning Commission's agenda. The Sagecrest team will be here tomorrow morning, here all day, tomorrow into the Planning Commission meeting tomorrow night, and then we'll be on island all day Thursday. We have a number of meetings set up with them, with applicants, with builders, contractors, people that have pending and prospectively pending applications for them to meet with, and they're gonna do a go around of the entire city to see, get a lay of the land. So, so far so good. Happy everything's working with them. And then finally, just to let everybody know, we're closed Memorial Day. City Hall will be closed Memorial Day, and then the July, just an early heads up, July 4th is our Tuesday meeting, first meeting in Tuesday. So obviously we will not be having a council meeting on July 4th. Depending on where we're at agenda-wise, we might just, the plan right now is to go with one meeting in July for council. The second meeting will just stay as scheduled, but if things come up, we might have to schedule one in between. We'll keep you updated. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Melissa, do you have anything to report?
I don't.
Okay,
Good
all right.
evening, everyone. That's it, and it's nice to be here with you.
Okay, thank you. Council member reports?
Well, I guess I'll go first. I don't really have anything to report, except that the Catalina Island Medical Center community feedback survey is still open. I encourage people to go to their Facebook page, Catalina Island Medical Center, or go to catalinaislandmedicalcenter.org or whatever. Find this survey, take this survey, because a lot of things on people's minds in this town is the new hospital. And this is an invaluable tool to provide your feedback as to what you want, what you need, what you feel that we don't have here, or that we do have, or what is working well, whatever your opinion is. But it's a great thing, and I really believe it's a perfect time for people to voice their opinions. So get on there, find it. It's the Catalina Island Medical Center Community Survey.
Is it in Spanish?
I believe so.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good, okay.
So it's in English and in Spanish.
Wonderful.
And it doesn't say how long it's going to be open, but it's still open right now. And seriously, it only takes about 10 minutes to do. And so just put your opinions where your mouth is. Instead of just, complaining about stuff, do something. Give some feedback, give them some direction as to what we want and what we need. Very important. Then, Dave, I just had a question for you about the Sagecrest that's coming here. Are they going to be here? Is there a cruise ship on the day they're coming?
Tomorrow, I'm not sure if there's one tomorrow.
Is there one on Thursday?
Yeah, I'll have to look. I'm not sure.
So take them down there by where the donut shop and the ATM and that whole. We need to have somebody with a vision to just figure out how to get that flow. Because today was like, oh, are you kidding me? No. But anyway, that would be great.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Lisa?
I attended the Gateway Cities COG meeting on May 3rd and brought back some interesting information in general. On the homelessness report they presented, it looks like we're actually included on the map, but not included on the list of areas covered, so we're really getting close to it. But anyway, hoping to see what that actually means with Gilbert, who is the chair for that department, and get some more information for next month. Next month, because there is not a meeting for Gateway Cities in July, there will be 2 meetings in June, one at the beginning of the month and one at the end of the month. And other than that, attended Cinco de Mayo, which was a ton of fun and was great to see such a good variety of city employees participating in the dancing, which was really great, but also to see just members of the community having a really great time, and fun to listen to the comments of people who were not from here walking through and getting excited about it. So thank you guys very much.
I really don't have much other than to say I did attend the Silent Film Festival. This is the first time that I was actually able to attend in the 27 years that I lived here. The whole weekend is an experience as you see these visitors come over in period costume. My takeaway from being in the theater and watching all these people dressed as if they're, I'm like going, wow, this is what it would have looked like in the 20s, 30s, 40s. But I don't believe they had any of these. And they're all taking pictures of each other in their clothes with cell phones. And I'm going, okay, that's just bizarre. But it's kudos to the museum. They put on a fantastic event. And I look forward to when they come back next year.
So maybe next year we should help them get a little thing with an old camera on a tripod with a guy over the hood, but it's a cell phone on the front.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yes.
I wanted to say thank you to the museum as well. I got the chance to attend, which was wonderful. And then also just a reminder that this week is the banking informational series that Councilmember De La Rosa was mentioning. And so the updated information for those are on the city's Facebook page. And the new location for that meeting for tomorrow night is the bank offices, since Planning Commission isn't here tomorrow night.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, Shortstop was very well attended by the parents, and they had a DA there. The captain was there. Grayson Klein was there. I was there. Emma Peguero was there. One of the other teachers, and they said never have in any of the cities where they do this have these kinds of representation come. It just shows how much we care about our children and we want them all to do well. It was very good. They give them all a number and they have them stand. They can't put your hands in your pocket, and they say, what are you in here for and why do you do this? And the lady was in their face. She did a great job. But it went 40 minutes over, so the last two kids, she couldn't even interrogate them as well as she would like to. So when we go back on the 23rd, they're going to get their just desserts. We'll see if they do their homework. I'm not so sure. I want to have faith. So let's hope that works. We also went to lunch with Judge Merich last Friday. It was his last day after serving over 30 years as our judge. He is going to be working out of his home, doing unlawful detainers and things like that with whatever the word magistrate means. I don't know what that means. But anyway, it was and it was so good. I'm not sure who Devin ordered, but we got him a sign, the Avalon sign, like our Avalon Street signs. He says he has a place to hang it. He was very moved by it, and so thank you very much for that. On Saturday, Principal Emma Peguero, and 4 of the students, female students, and myself went to the Mariners Foundation. They've been working with us for about the last 12 years, providing, they pay for the bus for up to 55 people. They pay for the tickets, the admission to whatever it is. They take them to JPL, a Museum of Tolerance, college campus visits and whatever. You're talking tens and tens of thousands of dollars. So they invited me this year so I could tell them how wonderful Avalon was, and it was a lot of fun. And then they questioned the girls. They did a fantastic job. And Stephen Haves was there as well because he's received a scholarship from them for the last 2 years. He was very well spoken. So that was a lovely thing. And we want to thank Mary Boyd and whoever else was in charge of the blood drive. I don't know how many gallons they ended up with. I think they measured by pints, but it was very well received. And yeah, so they hopefully will be back next year. So if you didn't give this year, we'll see you next year. Okay.
Mayor Marshall?
Yes.
I believe you have a proclamation.
Yes. I was going to do it again. Okay. So we have a proclamation of the City Council of the City of Avalon recognizing National Public Works Week. I see we have Jeffrey here, and and there's Bob. Whereas 2023 marks this, what's that? Jamie's in the office. Oh, and Jamie's in the office, so thank you all. Whereas 2023 marks the 63rd annual National Public Works Week, and we recognize public works professionals, engineers, and administrators for their contributions to the city of Avalon. And whereas the health, safety, and welfare of city residents greatly depends upon city facilities and services. Whereas the many hours of cleaning up fallen rocks, fixing water leaks, putting pumps back together, repairing harbor docks, and keeping our parks clean have allowed residents and visitors to enjoy Avalon's safe and beautiful community. And whereas the support of our community is vital to the efficient operation of Public Works Department's programs such as maintenance for storm drainage, roads, walkways, parks, public buildings, solid waste recycling, wastewater, etc. And whereas the services provided by the city's Public Works Department are an integral part of the City of Avalon's operation. And whereas it is the public's interest to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in the City of Avalon. And now therefore it be resolved that the City Council of the City of Avalon, on behalf of all its residents, does hereby proclaim the week of May 21st, 2023 as Public Works Week, and recognizes the commitment exhibited by our public works staff to our community's health, safety, and welfare, dated the 16th day of May by the Avalon City Council. So who would like to receive this? And I guess you have we'll all go up there with you. Okay. And I guess you all have a barbecue going on right now?
I think we made it for lunch tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah, so this isn't the whole team. We have a barbecue tomorrow. Some of our public works employees, they work even another job. So we're here tonight to represent our whole team. We'll have a barbecue tomorrow. The fire chief's gonna put on a barbecue for everybody. So Public Works Week is actually the third week in May, as the mayor has shared with us. This year it's Connecting the World is the theme. So we thank you for being able to provide the projects to connect this little slice of paradise to the rest of the world with all our transportation projects and whatever we do here.
Thank you all.
Home for lunch tomorrow.
Oh, that was lovely. Okay, oral communications. This is an opportunity for members of the community to speak on items that are not on the agenda. You will be limited to 2 minutes and no action will be taken.
Good evening, Paul Birchall, Avalon Library. I was just walking down the street the other day and somebody came up to me and said, "We heard the library's closing." No! We're not closing.
You're just the
We've got
last to
lots
know.
of stuff going on. I think they're playing a joke, but maybe not. I don't know. We're not closing. I just came here from the Hawaiian lei making event that we were doing. Not too many people attended. I couldn't get the knack of it at all, but they were knitting these beautiful things. One of the people who came was a visitor, and she left with this thing around her neck. It was so cool. So we're doing lots of stuff like that. Coming up, let's see. On the 26th, we've got a whole bunch of cloth caps to celebrate summer. Draw on them, design your own cloth caps. I'm doing Games Day. It's becoming increasingly popular. Every Wednesday from 4 to 6. I've had popular demand to start a chess club. We used to have one. The nice gentleman who used to run it for us moved off island, but he left me like 6 chessboards and a bunch of chess pieces. So we're going to do that. I've had like 5 people ask for that. So we're going to certainly do that. Chuck Liddell's talks, I really want to encourage folks to come and attend those. Next Wednesday at 2 o'clock, it's his birthday talk. He's going to talk about how things have changed over the last few years that he's been here. I can't wait to hear that one. Coming up in next month in June, it's still a little fuzzy for me. I haven't put everything in the slots yet. Maybe we're closing. We're not even in joke. Don't even say that at City Council. You don't say that. We've got Christopher Magician coming on the 10th. He's really good. He came about 2018. He was amazing. We're going to do a Juneteenth program, probably making a paper quilt in the style of the Underground Railroad, where it was all coded. Nice. We're going to do a Keith Haring project for Pride, and also my goofy Elton John glasses, which I do pretty much every year. Summer Discovery program is going to start too. They're sending me a lot of projects and crafts and free books to do for Summer Discovery program. I'm also booking a lot of programs like performers, thanks to our friends at the library who will be footing that bill. Thank them very much. Not quite put those into nouns yet, but they're coming up. It's going to be a fabulous summer, and we're not closed. Thank you very much.
And there's an assistant librarian they're trying to get over here, so he's looking for housing. I chatted with him this morning, but if anybody knows of a little, I don't think he wants much of it, but a place.
Yes, that would help us a lot.
Yes.
At the moment, his name is Alex. We're very glad to have him. He loves the island. He's been here about 2 months now. Because he's commuting school teacher style back and forth. Right. It would be wonderful if you could find him a place, because then we could have him 5 days a week. At the moment, to avoid wear and tear, he's coming out on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, which is great, but we need somebody full-time.
Right.
So, yeah, if there's anybody, I'm addressing you, camera, if there's anybody in town who has a room, and the library people pay their rent, so, thank you very much.
And they know how to be really quiet.
And we're
They may be talkative, but they're quiet.
Yes. Anyway, yeah. Do I seem quiet to you? But I'm not looking for the room. He's much quieter than I am. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Okay, is there anything on your machine? Okay.
Christy Lenz, and I'm here representing Avalon Rotary Club. I just wanted to, make sure you guys are aware that on May 6th we did a community cleanup, and we had several members of our community join us. We had about 21 people show up. We collected over 65 pounds of trash in just about an hour and 15 minutes. So we're going to do this monthly in collaboration with Ocean Mimic and Blue World and Care for Catalina. So our next one is June 10th. We're meeting here at People's Park at 9 a.m. Generally, it's about 2 hours long. If you can come, we'll provide gloves and bags. If anybody has a golf cart that they want to bring along to help carry the trash. And the lady that's organizing it has been very great about getting local businesses to provide a discount card. So for the month of May, we got a discount card for every volunteer at selected places throughout town, and we will do that again in June. So if you want to donate to that, a 10% discount or whatever it is, it's really trying to encourage people to come out and participate. So if you guys can join us, that'd be great. And we're hoping to do it on a monthly basis.
Great, thank you. A person that stepped in isn't. Are you coming to speak up at the dais? No. Okay. All righty. Presentations. Take it away, Matt.
Good evening, Council. Tonight's presentation is going to be on the current draft of the capital budget. As with my other budget presentations, I do want to stress that we are still kind of fine-tuning the budget, and so this is in draft form, but we thought it's far enough along to where we could share it with you tonight. The presentation is going to focus on a few of the major projects we have planned for next year, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about other projects or the capital improvement program in general. So as I get through the presentation, if you have questions on projects not discussed, feel free to stop me and we can go over them. Beyond the dollar amounts, any technical questions, I'm going to rely on Bob to come up and save me. So, but if there's questions just in general, I'm happy to answer those. So again, the goal with the capital improvement program, it's to identify the capital projects to be funded in town over the next 10 years. So by capital projects, it's any construction project or equipment purchase exceeding $5,000. Minor maintenance costs would be factored into the operating budgets. This document that I shared with council on Friday, and I'll share with the public as part of the budget to be presented at the next council meeting. It's really a document that we're updating throughout the year as projects are identified. The goal behind the document isn't just to talk about what is currently being worked on, but it's a way for us to keep track of all the things that come up in council meetings, the projects that are identified in the recreation master plan, active transportation plan, and a lot of the planning documents that we create, as well as input from council, input from the public. So really this document, the goal behind it is for it to be kind of an all-encompassing what we see as major investments in the community over the next 10 years. So before we get into the projects and the budget, I just wanted to provide kind of a quick budget to actual update for some of the major projects in the current year capital budget. So you can see in the Five Corners pedestrian project, year to date on the project, we've spent $435,000. We had budgeted $1.7 million this year to go into construction on Five Corners. We sort of delayed those plans because there was a grant opportunity that presented itself that, while it hasn't, I think, been officially awarded, we're pretty confident. And that's going to provide us with some additional funding to actually complete kind of the full scope of the project with construction plans starting next fiscal year. So you can see our year-to-date expense is fairly nominal, but that's going to change next year where we're looking to begin construction on that intersection. Pebbly Beach Road riprap is a similar story. We did get awarded during the year a $2 million earmark from the federal budget, and so that's going to go a long ways into some of the major pothole repairs along Pebbly Beach Road. That project's going to be a phased over several phases, but kind of the first phase is just getting the road back to a strong condition. Crescent Avenue stairs, we're looking to begin construction soon, but right now, year to date, we haven't spent a whole lot towards that project. And then city park improvements, we did receive a per capita grant of $176,000. So we had a $200,000 project budget. About half of the items in the budget we do expect to start on before June 30th. But Front Street Shade and some of the other elements of that project, just given the high visitor season, likely won't get underway until the slower season in the fall.
Oh, okay.
206 East Whitley, we've done a lot of kind of the remediation and prep work to get it ready to begin construction. With that construction, the rehab anticipated next year. And then lastly, the ADA will be coming back in June. We did get an additional allocation, so we'll have $200,000 to spend next year on curb cut and ADA ramp compliance throughout town. But because we got this additional allocation of funds, it slowed down our timing of when we could begin construction. So more to come on that project. We've been pretty active in the harbor this year. Again, this is a list of CIP projects in the current budget year that had over 100,000 budgeted. You can see Mole Phase 2, similar to the Five Corners project and the Pebbly Beach Road. We spent the year aggressively pursuing additional funds, and we were successful in those attempts. But we are looking next year to issue the RFP and begin the construction process there. Green Pier repairs, Jill Construction was out about a month ago now. And they replaced 5 pilings. Next year, we're looking to replace more than 5. I think we have 15 slotted as kind of the next phase of that project. It's kind of a balancing act with some of those major projects. The benefit of spreading it out allows us to spread out the cost over several years, but there's a lot of cost in bringing everyone over here and bringing out the construction, and so it's a balancing act of, do we try to do it all at once, or do we spread it out? Float rehabilitation, this was for float 5. I think when we originally had the budget, we were looking at possibly doing 4 and 5, but just given the timing, we just did float 5. And so that came in well under budget. So that's a final number there, about $75,000 for that float rehabilitation. Casino way improvements, that was the casino arch, patrol boat engines, and then the end float rehabilitation. We had budgeted $95,000. And that included a drum replacement, the flotation, and we're potentially looking at adding the decking, but that we pushed to next year's CIP budget. So if in the next year budget, you'll see about $100,000 for the end float, and that's to replace the final flotation device, as well as put on a new decking on that float. As well as there's been some spend in the sewer, saltwater, and landfill closure. So this slide here is just kind of a summary of the number of projects with spending activity planned for next fiscal year. So you can see the general fund and the harbor fund are where the largest capital projects are anticipated next year, at least from a spend standpoint. It's really the Five Corners project and the Pebbly Beach Road riprap make up the majority of that money in the general fund. And construction on Mole Phase 2 makes up the majority of that in the harbor fund, and we'll go into more detail on those projects here in a second. So these were the projects that I wanted to call out and just kind of go over at a high level. If there's questions on kind of where we are as the status, when we can anticipate construction, I have Bob here to kind of help me with the specifics. But these were the ones we just kind of wanted to highlight as major projects we're looking to, if not complete next year, begin construction next fiscal year. So again, that's the Five Corners pedestrian project, Pebbly Beach Road, Crescent Avenue stairs, Green Pier repairs and Green Pier decking, Mole Phase 2, a citywide street rehabilitation, and then the landfill retaining wall. So for the Five Corners pedestrian improvement, and this is just kind of to take a step back, I might actually exit out and show what the capital improvement document looks like, because that kind of helps, I think, tell the story of the next few slides. So with the budget document, I guess for the public watching at home, the capital improvement document will be included, the capital improvement program, with the budget. This first page here, zoom in, is a listing of all of the projects with spend budgeted for the next fiscal year. Again, this document's hyperlinked, so it'll take you to the detail page. Each project has a detail page which would identify kind of the nature of the project, who the best contact would be at the city for managing the project, a general description of the project, and then a breakdown of the type of spend anticipated for the next 10 fiscal years. So each project has a detail page. Even projects that we don't necessarily anticipate activity next year, but if sometime in the next 10 years we're looking to potentially highlight this as a project for investment, we're trying to capture it in this document here. The second and third page of this document is a listing of all the projects. So for example, one of the projects Chief had identified was a training tower for the fire department. Again, there's no budgeted activity plan for next fiscal year, but it is something, I don't want to say as a wish list, but something that would be a benefit to the city and the department to have access to those level of training facilities here on island. And so that's an example of a project that we may not have in the next few capital budgets, but it is something that we've identified kind of as a long-term project that would be a benefit to the city. So again, going back to the presentation, you'll see that the format looks similar because I copied and pasted it from the CIP program document. So the Five Corners project, we do have a grant with LA County Metro for $1.7 million, and that's the grant we've been kind of able to do a lot of the planning and some of the initial I don't say construction, with some of the kind of pre-construction planning. We have been pursuing an ATP Cycle 6 funding, and while it hasn't been awarded, we're pretty confident that we will be awarded that, and that would give us an additional $3.3 million for a total project budget of a little over $5 million. So you can see in the funding detail page, when you're reviewing the capital program, we have the kind of breakdown of what we expect to spend next year on construction, as well as a breakdown of the funding sources. So we have $5 million planned in construction, but $4.7 million of that would be grant funded, so that just the delta, the $300,000, $400,000 would be our local component there.
And we're doing well on timelines and whatever, yes, okay.
Bob's telling me yes, so
Yeah,
we're
okay.
doing well.
Okay.
Again, another major project for the general fund is the Pebbly Beach Road revetment. This is a project that's going to be phased out over several, and I'll show how you can read that within the CIP document. So again, we were successful this year in getting a federal earmark for $2 million to put towards Pebbly Beach Road. And again, after, I think the plan is after the kind of the peak visitor season to begin construction on Pebbly Beach Road to make some of those major road repairs. Again, Bob, if my timing's off, feel free to. All right. And so kind of the first phase of the project would be to really repair the road along Pebbly Beach. Kind of the second phase then would be to build up the revetment. And then the third phase, kind of some of those pedestrian sidewalk type improvements along the road. So we think with this earmark, we should be able to do a lot of the road repairs that are needed. And then the plan with that, since we have the planning documents, is to aggressively pursue additional funding to do some of those other elements of the project. So when you're reading out the CIP document, you can see next year, fiscal year 23-24, we are planning to spend $2 million on construction, but we are anticipating $1.78 million of that to be funded through that earmark, with the delta there being the local match. And then the goal of the CIP plan, kind of forecasting it out, is to kind of capture the fact that this project will be in phases and there's other elements. And depending on grant funding or desire of council and reserve levels, we can move forward or move back those other phases of the project. Again, kind of the next project, and I included this one because it is a major capital project from a dollar spend, and it doesn't currently have any grant funding. We are looking at other opportunities to hopefully cover some of these costs, but for now it's funded through city reserves. This is the hillside repairs along Crescent Avenue. I believe we are looking to contract that out in the next couple months. So we do expect construction to occur in the next fiscal year for that project. You can see it was a draft document when I gave it to you, and when we actually present it with the budget, I'll have this updated, but it was my understanding we were going to have the spend in the current fiscal year. So if you're reviewing the CIP document, you'll see that I thought in fiscal year 23 we'd have $313,000 in spend, with $100,000 in fiscal year 24 as a contingency. Likely that's going to get pushed over to next fiscal year. So again, we're still working with the departments and with the city manager on kind of finessing the capital budget for next year. But because this is a major project, it's not grant funded, we wanted to highlight it tonight. So the next two I was going to highlight are the green pier repairs and the green pier decking. Again, so and right now I have it separated as two separate projects, the green pier repairs, and that's really referring to the structural pylons underneath the pier. In March or April, we had Jilt Construction out, and they replaced 5 of the support beams underneath the pier. We picked the 5 that were in the most need to be replaced, and that was how those 5 were selected. Our goal, since we have the permitting for the next 5 years, or the next 4 years at least, is to phase some of the construction costs. The benefit is it minimizes disruption on the pier, and it also gives us some time to build up the reserves, since right now this project isn't a grant-funded project. There are some funds potentially out there with Boating and Waterways, and so in our weekly grants meeting, we are looking to see opportunities to potentially fund a phase or a portion of this project. But again, right now, it's not a grant-funded project. So you can see in the current year, we spent $325,000 on construction mainly, or $80,000 on design, and $250,000 or so on construction. The goal is the next 2 fiscal years to spend $450,000 on construction. So the $250,000 only bought us 5 pylons, but we have another 30 or so to repair. One of the downsides of phasing out these projects is a lot of the cost is bringing the equipment over and staging the equipment and setting it up. And so we did the 5 because they were in the most need of repairs, and this bought us some time to potentially pursue grant funding for the others. But while there's benefits to stretching it out, there's also costs associated with stretching out the project. So right now, since we don't have any grants lined up, we are looking at potentially stretching out the remaining 30 piers over 2 fiscal years. But you can see the $450,000 would buy us, we think, about 15 support beams or pilings, where $250 only bought us 5, and that's because of just how much it costs to mobilize to get things to the island and then mobilize off the island. The second project that we're looking to kind of take advantage, and this is more of a timing situation than anything, is we are looking at the decking on the Green Pier, and we see it's an opportunity that if we are replacing the support beams, it might be a good time to also replace the decking, since in order to get to the support beams, the decking has to be removed anyways. And so right now in the budget, we are looking to replace the decking in phases similar to replacing the pilings. So hopefully this would minimize disruption on the pier. And again, this is one where we're still looking to pursue grant funding for these projects, or these projects, the piling supports as well as the deck. But right now in the budget, since we don't have any grants really identified and nothing awarded, it would be coming out of harbor reserves to pay for this if we were to do it in the next 2 fiscal years. And the key with this one is even if we didn't do it in the next 2, we have the permitting for the next 4, so there is some time constraints on the project. And so again, it's a balancing act between sharing it over multiple years to allow us to build up more funds, but then there's some costs associated with that. So the 2 years we felt kind of is the best balance.
I'm just curious, how long does that pier decking last?
I believe it was replaced in the 90s sometime.
Oh, that's a long
so
time.
25, 30 years.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Okay, the big project in the mole, or in the harbor, is Mole Phase 2. A couple screenshots from the presentation, I think back in 2021, of some of the design concepts right there. Again, this year, we're pretty aggressive in pursuing additional grant opportunities, and we're successful in that we were awarded another $5 million towards the project. So in total, we have, I believe, 14 million or 16 million of the total project budget, of which 14 million is grant funded with a local match of about 2 million. And so in the next slide is kind of the breakdown of it. Because we see this taking, I believe, an 18-month time frame once kind of we break ground on the project. It'll likely be split over the next 2 fiscal years. Again, Bob can speak to more specifics as far as timing. I believe the strategy post-summer would be to start on some of the electrical infrastructure type upgrades that are required. With in the fall, the kind of design bid RFP going out. The RFP process is going to be a 4 or 5 month process, and so likely that wouldn't be awarded till say after the new year for the actual construction. But prior to that, we do expect some disruptions out there, and so kind of the next phase of of this project is acquiring the pieces of infrastructure necessary to stage the existing businesses that are out there, as well as some of the electrical and kind of the construction work that's a little less disruptive, or at least can be done with potentially local contractors. And so that's kind of where we're looking at timeline. Again, Bob can speak to it much better than I can. I'm just repeating what he tells me, so.
He's doing a good job, isn't he? Yeah.
So this next one is citywide street rehabilitation. And so this one isn't grant funded, but we do receive gas tax funds. And those funds are restricted in their use in that they have to be spent on street related projects. So currently we receive about 150 to 200,000 a year in gas tax revenues. Those funds currently are used to pay for the street sweeping as well as some of the street maintenance that occurs around town. But we have been able to build up a bit of a fund balance in there. And so we are looking to do a more robust street maintenance in the next fiscal year. I must have been sleeping when Bob was talking about this one in more detail, so if you need more specifics, I'm sure Bob can explain what we're looking to do. But in the next fiscal year, we are looking to spend $350,000 on street paving type projects. Again, Bob can speak to a lot better and more eloquently than I can. So this one isn't grant funded, but there is a funding source in those gas tax revenues that we've been able to build up a bit of a balance for. And again, kind of going back to the CIP document in general, really every 3 to 5 years we need to have some major investment in the street paving. Some of the challenges is gas tax revenue wise. Again, we don't receive all that much. But the goal of this document, and it still needs to be improved, is to show that over the next 10 fiscal years, every 2 to 3 years, we're going to need to put some major investment into our streets. And the benefit of if we can do it every 2 or 3 years, we don't have quite the big hit, and the streets stay in better shape for when we do rehab them.
Go ahead.
I know this isn't for you, but I know that Bob is sitting right behind you. But so I remember the last time we did it, we did the major, we paved every single street in town and all that kind of stuff. And then like a month later, Edison was required to drill bar holes for the gas system. So I was just going to say, before we undertake this again, you might want to reach out to Frank Beach.
Yes, and we do that, and we're trying to repair all of the fresh water, salt water, sewer, but there's going to breaks that are going to happen even after we get this done. Our next step really in the progress is to patch all those holes, the death by 1,000 cuts of the road. So we'll patch all those holes with hot mix asphalt, which you saw last time we do it. It's pretty disruptive to the whole community. That's where we go out there and put all those holes in the road, put plates on them, bring the hot mix over, hit a lot of those holes over a 2-week period. After we get done with that, then we have to crack seal the road. There's lots of cracks developing. We crack seal that, let that sit for about 6 months. And we haven't had, I think, to my knowledge, a seal coat project for about 7 or 8 years. That's right on cycle for a seal coat, town-wide, citywide, to be able to make our roads look great again, okay? And then that lasts for about 7 years, and then the process repeats itself.
Right.
We'll still need at some point to invest in our salt water, our sewer, and our fresh water to make sure that we're not having those repairs constantly there, okay?
Right, yeah, I just remember last time it was like everything looked beautiful, and then Edison was mandated to go, oh no, now we have to make holes like every 6 or 9
Yeah, so
feet.
that type of thing when they have to make holes, but just the emergency repairs.
Right, no, I got you.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
okay.
coordinate with Edison and maybe they can do their holes
We'll
before you
definitely
repave.
Yeah, okay.
So then the last project I wanted to highlight and then turn it over to any questions on other projects is the landfill retaining wall. So again, with the landfill retaining wall, the idea or the intent behind it is to increase the height of the landfill, which would increase the number of years we would be able to continue to utilize the landfill. Unfortunately, that process isn't a cheap process, and we are running against the clock in that we have 4 years and 5 months of space left in the landfill unless we do a better job diverting. In the next fiscal year, we are looking to spend about $500,000 on design and permitting. There's a lot of regulatory and environmental steps that have to be taken before, and the risk is there is a chance we could go through the permitting process and they could deny our request to increase the height of the landfill. But increasing the height is kind of our best bet at extending the life. At least that's in conversations we've had with CR&R, that's how we feel. If we're successful, we think it would buy us an additional 25 years of the ability to use that space. But there is some risk in the sense that we are going to go through, if in the budget, we're going to go through the process that we could get turned around and told we can't increase the height. I haven't spoken with CR&R, but Dave tells me that the cost of shipping trash off is exponentially higher than the cost of building the wall, and so we're aggressively looking at this option. The positive, if there is one, is we did factor in some of this cost into the cost of service study, in that we factored in some of the permitting costs, but not necessarily the construction costs. And so we are going to be aggressively also looking at grant funding opportunities or financing opportunities, because $7 million, it'd be great because it'd extend the life of our landfill by 25 years, but that's not a small amount of money. Certainly not for the solid waste fund, and so that's going to be a priority for staff, is looking at financing or grant opportunities for this project. But because it's a major project and it's a new one on the list this year, I felt it was important to call it out in the meeting. So again, that's the kind of the slides I had prepared. The goal is to have the CIP document with some cleanup and corrections to it included as part of the budget to be presented or to be provided to council before the June 6th meeting. So that's when I'll have it out to the public as well. The benefit of the document, again, I've tried to make everything as user-friendly as possible with all the information. So it is hyperlinked, so if there is a specific project you want to look to, hopefully that aids in the review. But right now we have 71 or 72 projects identified, not all of them with funding plan next year. But with that, if there are any questions on the projects we've added to the list, or if council had projects that they've discussed that they don't see captured in the list, we're happy to make those corrections and add them to the document as well.
Is the serpentine wall in here? Called something else maybe, or?
It is in here, and this is kind of an area where I think we can improve the document some. Right now we have that factored into what we call Casino Way improvements. And so in the next fiscal year, we do have right now 100,000 in the budget. Kind of the major projects is about 50,000. I want to say we're looking at putting towards the showers to improve, I believe, the roof there, and then 50,000 as towards kind of the wall improvements and upgrades. It is a project that staff has or council has brought up, and staff has instructed me to make sure it's included in the budget. I don't know how solid those numbers are, but it is something we're currently discussing.
Okay, cool.
Where is Casino Dock?
Casino Dock.
I don't even want to talk about it. It's probably on there.
It's under the fuel dock.
Oh, okay.
So the Casino Dock or the fuel dock rehabilitation would be project number 66 or 237001.
Okay.
And again, right now we have 50,000, which was kind of for design engineering type work. Right now, currently anticipated in next year's budget. And kind of depending on what comes out of that study, potentially monies towards.
But 425, yeah. Okay. I heard that both of those guys are dead. The people that did the work.
That did the work on what?
Casino dock, is that true, Bob? And the company's gone and the guys are dead?
The engineer of record is past.
No, no. There's no recourse, basically, right? Yeah. Okay.
And then for the pier and the pilings and the decking and all that kind of junk, I think it's a great idea to spread it out, but would one way to be able to save some money, can we buy the pilings and the decking? Do we have anywhere to store that, so we wouldn't have to like bring it, that weight would be just one time and then we would just have to bring the equipment over? Would that be smart or stupid or just something that hit my head?
For example, this year, we bought the 5 pilings early, stored them over town until we were ready to mobilize, and then brought everything over. We explored, and Bob can touch this, bringing them here and storing them, but they're 50, 60 feet long.
Yes,
Okay.
so it's where, and they're heavy. So you have to have the equipment to transport them.
Oh, true.
Yeah, up in the canyon or so. So we were thinking, well, we could put them right on the wharf. We could put them on Pebbly Beach Road right there because we don't want to take them too far away. And so then you saw them, they ended up right at the beach right when we were doing it, just so that it was a very short haul there. And so I think that we can pre-purchase some of it and get it to where it needs to be, because one of the things that when you pre-purchase some of that, they're long lead items. So in advance, 6 months, 9 months of the construction, get them over to the contractor that, and if we do have, like really a 5-year plan, we have a 5-year contract, we'd be able to get them to the contractor of record, or they would do it, and they'd be ready to go when we pull the trigger. Say, hey, we have funds, come over here and do that when we're on our slow season.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Do we have questions, or is anybody calling in with questions or comments?
And again, it's a living, breathing document, so if you do think of something, or if a member of the public says, hey, what about this project, feel free to reach out to Bob or myself, and we'll make sure it's captured in and being considered for the budget.
Great. Once again, thank you for a great job.
Yeah, thank you.
And all this staff putting all the numbers in and that kind of thing.
And it's a pretty user-friendly document. I like it.
Yeah. Yes, okay. Consent calendar.
Thank you, Mayor. Consent calendar, we have, first off, approval of the minutes from April 18th, 2023 special city council meeting, the April 18th, 2023 regular city council meeting, April 20th, 2023 special city council meeting, and the May 2nd, 2023 regular city council meeting. Approval of total, for warrants, approval of total expenditures for April 24th, 2023 through May 5th, 2023, totaling $1,243,189.67. And then our ongoing findings, reconsider the circumstances of COVID-19 state of emergency as proclaimed by the governor and COVID-19's continued impact, and determine that state or local officials have imposed or recommended measures to promote social distancing in connection with COVID-19, and as such, that in continuing to utilize the protections of Assembly Bill 361 will protect the health and safety of attendees. Adopt a resolution for accepting the fiscal year 22-23 third quarter treasurer's report. Item 5, authorize the city manager to approve an expenditure for the purchase of a new Volvo D4 230 horsepower HP engine package for patrol boat number 7. Item 6, authorize the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with Davis Farr LLP for professional auditing services for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, with the option of extending that agreement for 2 additional fiscal years. Item 7, you have sent to you the COVID prevention program. So we'd ask to adopt the COVID-19 prevention program policy. And item 8, finally, the asking council to adopt updates to the city's social media use and public outreach policy.
Is there any questions on any of the items?
Yeah, I was just curious, there's no dollar amount on the engine replacement for the boat. That's obviously in the budget. It's been something anticipated, and so that's why we didn't have to, because there's usually a dollar amount when we authorize you to buy some.
There is, and it is budgeted, but I believe the dollar amount should be in the invoice attached.
57?
Yes. I think the
57,483.
correct. Your invoice is attached to your,
Okay, yeah, sorry.
that's right.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, and there in the center, 57,483.
Okay, got it, sorry.
Okay, all right. Council, what's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve items 1 through 8.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Lavelle?
Aye.
Councilmember Schickling?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ponce?
Aye.
Mayor Marshall?
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 absent. Councilmember De La Rosa?
Okay. Item number 9.
Item number 9, this is under general business. Before you is consideration of a transportation permit submitted by Chad McIntyre, DBA Chad's Taxi Service. Discuss and provide direction. If consensus for approval is reached, make the affirmative finding that the criteria as set forth in Avalon Municipal Code Section 5-14.04 has been met and award a transportation permit to Chad McIntyre pending confirmation of permit conditions being met.
Council want to discuss it first, or can Devin, because Devin has worked on this, Devin, can you
Certainly can.
give us some insight?
Sure. Mr. McIntyre submitted a transportation permit on April 25th. He proposed to have a flat fee taxi service for passengers that charging $10 per destination. In his initial application, he said that the business would operate year-round with seasonal hours of service, and that the business would primarily focus on transport of ferry passengers or passengers to and from the ferry boat, and also focus on rides from bars and nightclubs to prevent drunk driving incidents. When reviewing the application, I thought there was initially a discrepancy in the time frame that he provided. He had hours of operation only going from 8 a.m. till noon rather than 12 a.m. So we went through a series of correspondences trying to figure out what exactly the scope of services was that he would like to offer. And unfortunately, we didn't nail anything down specifically. The municipal code requires that an applicant provide a plan that contains all information pertaining to the extent and character and manner in which the proposed operation is to operate. At this time, without more details regarding operations, staff recommends that the City Council maybe continue this item to a future meeting so that the applicant can provide more logistical information. At our last correspondence, Mr. McIntyre indicated that he would forego the idea of operating in the evening time, but focus primarily on just ferry boat passenger transport. So he would maybe wait in the circle area at the Cabrillo Mall. At this time, there's no business that's allowed to operate out of the circle at the Cabrillo Mall. We have designated loading, unloading zones for the Garibaldi bus, as well as the current Catalina taxi service. So we'd like to give Mr. McIntyre the opportunity to think through his business plan and provide a more detailed proposal to council at perhaps the next City Council meeting. Does council have any questions?
I mean, Mr. McIntyre is more than welcome to come up, but I concur with Devin that because there seems to be discrepancies that kind of go back to the drawing board and really figure out what your plan is, Chad? Because we wouldn't probably be able to act just on what you say today, you know?
Yeah, all I'm looking to do is to pick to and fro from the boat times listed available. So if the boat comes in at 3 p.m., I'll be there at 3 p.m., I'll go to and fro, and then every kind of time that's available, I would go to the mall, wait, pick up passengers, and come back, and just keep doing that until the first boat, until the last boat.
So let me just ask a question. What happened to the concept of, you know, the cabs closed down at a certain time and then you being able to pick people up and take them back to their hotels? Why has that changed?
I would try to make it more simple and try to just go to the ferry and back. I know there's a lot of issues with just renting out or creating the taxi company itself, but I would try to make it just easier for the council just to go to and fro that spot. Go to the boat and go to the destination and then come back to the boat, pick them up and then go back to their destination.
And you have a 4-seater golf cart?
I do. Yeah, I would use my personal, I wouldn't request another golf cart, and then I would put that under the LLC in business and get it insured to make sure I'm not personally liable.
So it sounds like you could probably only deal with 2 people at a time with luggage, a couple.
Right.
So I don't see how.
I think he should come back. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't mind the concept at all. I was kind of excited about the after-hours concept personally, because I know people ask law enforcement to give them a ride home and all that kind of stuff. So
Guilty.
right? I wasn't looking.
Matt's not even looking at me.
No, somebody was telling me they asked the other night, but it wasn't me yet.
Yeah, but also I think it would be a little more beneficial for residents to get to the boat.
I'm for that as well. I'm not opposed to it. I would have to look more into the business insurance side of things and how much I'd be working, but as I was talking to different insurance companies, it can get pretty expensive. And then dealing with drunks at night could even be more expensive. And then speaking with my wife, we were not kind of maybe fond of doing that at night. There might be some safety issues, but I would try to just keep it as simple as just taking to and from. But I could provide more detail next council
Well,
meeting.
maybe you could talk to Captain Matt about a cage separating you from the drunks in the back seat to the front seat and lock them in.
For sure.
Kind of a joke. Okay.
You're gonna have a giant disclaimer all over your car. By riding in this vehicle, you.
So what do you think? Do you think he should come back, or do you want to say we don't like this idea and vote on it, or we like this idea and we're going to let him go? What do you want to do, team?
I'd like to hear a more completed business plan, including his discussion regarding insurance. That was one of my concerns originally with the intent of this was concerning to hear the challenges of driving someone at night, as your wife mentioned, was one of my biggest issues. The way that it's designed right now, I don't necessarily have an issue with the competition of it all, but I think that it's not necessarily well planned out yet or fully kind of fleshed out from their end.
Okay.
So I would say to come back, yeah. I'd be okay with continuing it.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Do you need a motion to continue, or is just the
Can we just
discussion for
say provide direction and we'll continue that, and you kind of understand what we're talking about there, Chad?
Sure, sounds good.
that? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
If anyone's here from the public that wanted to provide comment currently, do you want to allow that now, or do you want to wait till next time as well?
Well, we just carried it over, so let's wait. I think you were, are you okay waiting until next time? Okay, thank you. All right. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Finally, we have item number 10.
This is good news.
This is a hard decision here.
Right.
Right?
Asking council, once again, this year, we had extra funds as we're heading into the last month of the fiscal year. So we had before you approval of a one-time additional, or $85 additional commuter book subsidy for a total subsidy of $170 per book for the month of June 2023.
That's really awesome.
Any discussion from the community?
I know.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Lavelle?
Aye.
Councilmember Schickling?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ponce?
Yes.
Mayor Marshall?
Yes.
4 ayes, 1 absent.
Okay. So I do have a question. I got a comment the other day that not everybody is on social media, not everybody blah, blah, blah. And I mean, this is going to spread like wildfire, this kind of information. But I wonder some of the other information we try to get out there, how successful it is, like the golf carts, you know, the commercial autoettes and that kind of thing. I don't know what we do. I know we put something in the newspaper as well. I just don't know Can we make little signs and put like one up in the arcade or something, put one in the laundromat? I don't know, it seems like we're still missing people somehow.
Did you guys also, I thought last time that there was one at the mall as well, wasn't there? Didn't they put them in the window for the express?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But
So I
whatever
think
we
that-
can do to kind of get that out would be great, but that's very good
I'll
news.
just buy two.
Yeah. I know. Okay. We're going to be going into closed session on 3 items. And we're going to change the order. The first will be real estate property negotiations, public right-of-way on Tremont, and then conference with legal counsel on real property at 128 Marilla. Do we need to say more than that? And public employee performance evaluation.
Correct, and then the, yes, the public employee performance evaluation, that's it, those 3 items.
Okay, great. All righty. We're going to be there a little while, folks, so you can hang around, but.
You're more than welcome to hang out.
Yeah. Okay, all right. We are back from closed session and no reportable action. Tony, good night. Meeting adjourned.